Hi. I want you to reject the idea that caring about what other people think about you is problematic or makes you a pick-me. Because the truth is, we've all been in a situation where we put ourselves out there and gotten rejected by the people we were seeking validation from. And what you must understand is when people come online and make videos talking about how they stopped caring, it's not that they truly stopped caring about what other people think. It's that they learned how to discern whose opinion matters. There's an online epidemic of people who want to portray themselves as nonchalant so badly that they mistake arrogance and egoism with true confidence. Confident people still care about what other people think. It's just they learned how to include their opinion in the equation when deciding if someone's opinion actually matters. My point to this intro is people who say they don't give a fuck are lying to you. And your goal if you want to be confident shouldn't be to not give a fuck. It should be to learn how to redirect where you give your fuck to. What's going on, everyone? My name's Natalie, and if you're new to my channel, this is where I share ways in which I'm getting my shit together so that you can learn how to get your shit together. Now, before I get into this video, I just want to say a thank you to all my new subscribers coming to my channel. A lot of people came from my last video, and if you guys like more content like this, be sure to subscribe, like this video, and do all the things so that the algorithm sees me. And the first topic we're going to be talking about today is how caring about what other people think about you is a natural human experience. Most people care about what other people think about them because it is a natural human experience. Every single person on this earth has a biological need for community, has a biological need to be accepted. So when you experience rejection sensitivity and you immediately go to, I just want to stop caring what other people think, you're not actually setting a realistic goal. And when you really think about it, if you don't care what other people think, sometimes it isolates you, especially if you're on the greater end of the spectrum where you value your opinion so much that you actually isolate yourself and other people think you're arrogant. So the goal of I just want to stop caring is unrealistic. Change it to I want to fine-tune my rejection sensitivity, because that's truly what it is. You cannot control how you are perceived. The type of confidence that a lot of people preach online is false confidence. They assume that if someone hates on you, that means they're jealous of you, which isn't always the case. We like to think that there's some deep meaning to why people don't like us, but a lot of the time it's just their own projections of their own internal reality. And I'm not saying that to be tone deaf, but every single person has their interpretation of the world, and to discount that and say that just because someone doesn't like you that means they're jealous of you, or just because someone doesn't like you means that they don't like themselves, doesn't account for the possibility that sometimes there's no reason why people don't like you. And that's perfectly okay. You can name a person right now that you don't like and you don't really know why. And I'm pointing that out because this self-centered ideology is all over social media and it's hard to escape it, and it's easy to just believe these things rather than digging deeper into why someone's opinion rubs you the wrong way about yourself. People have opinions about you all the time that you don't really think about, but why is it that you're hyper-focusing on one specific opinion another person thinks about you? And I'm not saying that jealousy isn't a valid point for why someone might say something nasty about you, but what I am saying is automatically going to that conclusion can excuse yourself from doing your own inner work and recognizing why a certain criticism actually made you feel some type of way. And something I've noticed, a lot of people who act like they don't care, I mean, sometimes they actually don't care, but a lot of people who act like they don't care also have a fear of vulnerability. So when something actually hurts them, they will never tell you because they don't want to look vulnerable. And that might also be you, and it's perfectly fine to keep some things to yourself. What I mean by get vulnerable with yourself isn't go up to the person that hurt your feelings and try to validate yourself to that person. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone, but explaining yourself to yourself can really help in validating or invalidating certain self-concepts you have, and opening the door for deeper introspection and growth. Vulnerability does not make you weak, and I say that for the people who it's really difficult for them to look at themselves and go, wow, that hurt me. Sometimes you'll feel exhausted because you're trying to do everything for everyone and be everything for everyone. And when someone has an opinion of you that you don't like, it can feel like a personal attack. But one of the biggest things you must understand is the reason why you care about what other people think is because it has helped you. Turning yourself into someone different has helped you in the past, especially if you grew up with parents who had certain expectations of you. You might have been the weird kid in school, so in order to feel better about yourself, you conformed so that you could have friends. Whatever the case was, there's a reason why you adopted this trait of being hypersensitive to everyone around you. And it can be really hard, but I want to reassure you that caring about what other people think about you is not the problem. The problem is how you care for yourself. So as you grew up, you were taught that certain behaviors are good and other behaviors are bad. And the behaviors that are bad, you tended to not show, and they turned into shame and guilt. This is your shadow side. inside. This is the part of you that you're ashamed if you ever show anyone this. And this comes from the way that you were conditioned in the world. Every single human has a social need that they need to meet. So that could be community. You needed to meet the need of community growing up. So therefore you sacrificed a certain part of your personality in order to seem more likable to other people. This directed your focus from your inner self to your outer self. So in order to validate who you were inside, you automatically look to the external world. And if your external world was making you feel insecure, you'd change yourself. Conforming is the biggest reason why you care so much about what other people think about you. And I say that because you're not allowing yourself to discern your own values. And I want to go on a little bit of a side rant about Generation Z and social media, because a lot of us actually grew up on the internet and grew up off of external validation. Generation Z is full of external validation junkies. And what is an external validation junkie? An external validation junkie is someone who doesn't do something unless they know they are going to get praise for it. You don't go to the gym unless you know someone's going to comment about your body and say you look good. You don't post that photo unless you know that your friends are going to like it and comment on it. Before you start something creative, you always go to your friends and ask, should I do this? And they say no, so you never do it. And you see how that can limit you. If every single time you want to do something, you go to other people and it has to be validated through other people. Now, I'm going to be honest. I've said this in previous videos. External validation can be a motivator for a short period of time. Let's say if you want to get started going to the gym, you might want that compliment once in a while because you're putting in some hard work. But the problem is seeking out external validation and using it as your only fuel for why you want to do something. To achieve anything in life, you have to have your own internal compass that tells you what you should and shouldn't do, and trust your intuition and your own values to lead you to where you want to be. That is the only motivator that really gets you to the next level. So Generation Z has a bunch of external validation junkies because we literally grew up on the internet. We literally grew up scrolling. We literally grew up getting bullied like no other generation. Finding yourself has become 10 times harder because everyone online is telling you who you should and shouldn't be. So now that you understand this, I'm going to tell you exactly how you fix it. Number 1, identify your values. Write down all of the things that you know you are not. And through this process, you'll realize that everything you are not makes you everything you are. And you might even think of certain qualities about yourself that you've had for your entire life. And the nature versus nurture debate has gone on for years, but there's a part of you that you were literally just born with. That's just who you are. And when you deviate from that, when you try to be a chameleon in every single social situation, there's this air of inauthenticity to you. And I don't know what it is about humans. This is just my own belief. I genuinely believe that people can sense authenticity. Authenticity is one of the purest energies that you can work around. When you are being authentic to yourself and your values, everything falls into place. And I promise you, it's scary, it's uncomfortable because you've been taught by your external world that in order to get your needs met, you have to go outside yourself. You cannot be yourself. This is your wound. And so when someone says something that hits that sweet spot, you get very, very defensive. Your external reality will point out things about you that you don't like about yourself. And if you can just stop and tune into that, you will become so resilient, so intuitive, and so powerful because you had the guts to look at yourself. If you care a lot about what other people think, a lot of the time it's because you don't stand on your values. You're not standing on business, okay? I've been seeing that phrase a lot. I've never used that phrase, even though I know it's been around for a while, but recently I've really just been saying that for some reason. Stand on business, okay? And when I mean stand on business, stand on your values. When you have shaky values, you'll change yourself for everyone. When your values are solid, when someone says something about you and tries to invalidate you, it's baseless because you know who you are. Every single time you stand on one of your values, if you're in a situation, it'll come back to you at some point or another. Believe in karma. Believe that everything you do, if you put good energy out into the world, you'll get it back at some point. So when someone doesn't like you, right? Stop taking it so personal. You might care so much because you're trying to be everything for everyone, but you don't even like everyone. When someone doesn't like you, stop taking it so personal and start seeing it as a difference of values. They said that about me. Okay. Like, that's genuinely how it's going to become as you build trust with yourself and learning yourself more. When someone says something about you that's so out there, you won't feel the need to defend yourself so much because your character defends itself. And so what if what someone says actually does hit a sweet spot, right? It's not out there, there's actually a little bit of truth to it. And so something I've noticed in my own life, whenever someone has said an opinion about me that I feel a little bit of resistance to, I'm ruminating on it, there's always, number one, a little bit of truth. There might be a part of my shadow self where I'm not accepting this part of myself, so it's being brought out because someone else sees it in my reality. Or number two, I still feel the need to defend myself because it hits a soft spot. And when I say soft spot, I mean, it triggers me. Okay, I don't like using the word triggered because I know how some people are like, triggered, you know what I mean? But anyways, it hits a soft spot. And when it hits a soft spot, that is your indicator to go inward. Because your first reaction is usually to talk about the other person and try to invalidate them. And that creates this back and forth and brings you out of your peace, out of your paradigm, into your proving energy. And when you're in your proving energy, there's some part about it that is almost a little bit invalidating to you. For example, when someone just goes, they're kind of seen as more like badass, like, damn, like, you're so unbothered. Whereas when someone's like, no, that's not me, it can make the person seem a little bit more invalid, if that makes any sense. So stop proving yourself to others and start proving yourself to yourself. Tend to your wounds, okay? When someone hits a sweet spot, it's because something is unhealed and there's unresolved something or other, you know what I mean? And the next one, I think this is number 3, practice self-validation. This is what you do. Deprive yourself of easy external validation. Get off of social media. Get off of dating apps. Stop telling everything to your friends. It's okay to tell things to your friends when you need them, but don't tell every single little detail of your life, especially your personal endeavors, to everyone you're around. Practice self-validation, and this can be as easy as affirmations every day. And I know it sounds silly, okay, but look in the mirror every day and affirm to yourself who you are. You can even do it in music form. There's so many affirmations on Spotify, like affirmation playlists with good songs. Like, one of my favorite songs is Baby Tate's I Am. That entire song is just affirmations that you can repeat on a daily basis. I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am rich, I am that bitch. And it's catchy. So even if you don't want to do it in the mirror every single day, just start writing it down. Just start saying these things to yourself. When you approach conflict with yourself, really be able to go inward and talk to yourself and be like, you're okay. I'm so proud of you for realizing this, especially when you have those hard realizations. You have to have compassion for yourself, because who else is going to have compassion for you? If you can't have compassion for yourself, how the hell do you expect other people to have compassion for you? Heal in private so that you can shine in public. Keep it private, babe. And this is coming from someone who used to overshare about her life on social media. If you care about what strangers think about you, it might be your own perception of yourself in society. You're perceiving yourself through the lens of a certain stereotype or social conditioning. So for example, if you're scared that you're going to be seen as like a crazy influencer for, going outside and recording a video, it's because that's what society perceives influencers as. But again, what society thinks isn't what you think. Learn how to include your opinion into the equation. And the best way to include your opinion in the equation is learning what your opinion actually is. Standing on business, standing on your values, learning about yourself, and approaching yourself and your self-concept as a developing mosaic. You are literally constantly going through phases in life. You're never going to reach this point where you're just this perfect, highest version of yourself. That's not a thing. The main point of this video, if you care about what other people think about you, it has a lot more to do with what you think about yourself than you think. With that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments if this helped you. I'm so proud of you, bestie. Like, I am so proud of you for getting to this point with yourself. Do that shadow work, learn how to look inward. You're doing such a great job, and it honestly doesn't matter what other people think about you unless you make it matter. And if you make it matter, it has something to do with your internal world. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, check out all my other social medias, and I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for my support on my last video. The support, you get what I mean. Thank you for the support. Do all of the things. I'll see you guys in the next one.